Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Paola Arletty. We've already discussed how to coordinate fabric patterns, how to put together a fabric and finishes scheme, but today you're gonna watch me do this real time. I have a few ideas of really what I want to be creating with this scheme. I want to create something romantic and soft, perhaps for a baby's room. And I'm going to start with my color palette first. In this case, I love dusty pink. It's one of my favorite colors. And I'm going to pull up all of the pink fabrics that I might have in my sample library. I'm gonna start with this one, which I absolutely love. It has this really nice kind of dusty pink and blue gray to it. And we also have this fabric. So this is pretty much what I do. I take out all the pink fabrics I have, lay them down, and that kind of gives me an idea of which one I might want to be choosing as my main fabric. I'm still not there though. I don't feel like I like these as my main. Ooh, this one is cute. I like this one. This one's cute too. But yeah, place all your fabrics together until you're happy with the one you might consider using as your main one. I love this one. I absolutely love this fabric. Then I'm running out of space here, but truly what you should be doing is laying them down together and creating that tone-on-tone color scheme before you introduce any other color. At least that's what helps me, because I don't want to detract myself from the dusty pink that I've already chosen. And a good way to determine your color palette is by looking at fashion films or looking at runway shows and seeing what the fashion designers are using in their runways. You know, they say that fashion and interior design go hand in hand. I agree. Okay, so we have this really soft, kind of soft wool fabric. And although it's not pink, I do like the idea of introducing a little bit of cream into the scheme. You can also go ahead and introduce some trims if you're considering those, and you can also make sure you choose some upholstery fabrics. I think we have a good amount of fabrics here to work with. They're all pink, and I'm gonna choose my favorite out of all of them right now. I like this one a lot, and I'm gonna use this as my starting off point because I just love the fact that, first of all, it's made out of silk. It had some silk in it, and it's also wool. So I think we can use this as our accent fabric just to make it nice and delicate. I like things to be delicate and sophisticated, timeless, as well as just have that hint of luxuriousness to it, and silk really does that for you. Okay, once I have my main fabric chosen, I put it aside, and then I refer back to it every single time I choose a new fabric for this scheme. So okay, I'm gonna clear this up now. I need a little bit more space. Once you've chosen your main fabric, you wanna have it right in front of you and start pulling from the rest. I really like the texture of this one. I think it would be perfect for upholstery, or yeah, I think it would be perfect for upholstery. Again, like I mentioned in one of my previous videos, which I'll have linked down below, I don't like labeling what the uses of my fabrics will be prior to me completely finishing the scheme, because I find this will inhibit me from being a little bit more fluid with my design process. So yes, at the back of my head, I'll be thinking perhaps this could be upholstery, but I'm not gonna really determine that till the very end. Okay, so I love this one, I love this one. I think they look great together. The motif on this one, or the pattern rather, is, you know, dots, and it has a really great texture. It's velvet, and the dots themselves feel kind of plasticky. It's interesting, but the effect is great because it shimmers with the light. And velvet is always such a great texture to introduce into your scheme. Okay, so I love that one, this one. And I also love this fabric. I really love the way the pattern is kind of organic. Abstract, you could say as well. There's really no defined shape to it. Everything is kind of mixed together, which I like. I like those abstract patterns. And I also really like the idea of introducing a solid. You can see this how to coordinate patterns on my first video, how to coordinate your fabrics, which I'll have linked down below. And yes, introduce a solid. And I really like the texture of this solid, because sure, they're both solid, but this one has a more robust texture, which I would probably consider for upholstery. And ooh, let's introduce some trims. Now, trims can either be used for your drapery, it could be used for your throw pillows, it could even be used for your upholstery furniture if you really wanted to. I like to limit myself to using them just with throw pillows for the moment being, as well as drapery. So I like these two. And oh yes, this one is absolutely gorgeous. It has a gorgeous texture. I don't know if you can hear this, but it's an interesting texture to it, and the color is just perfect. And I also like the pattern. It's linear. It doesn't clash at all with the other patterns we have going on. Okay, and I also like this textured fabric. It kind of gives me a Chanel vibe. It's really beautiful. Now, what I'm noticing here is that the intensities of these dusty pinks are not the same, and that's totally fine. In my case though, I kind of want to keep the mood a little bit subdued, so I will try to choose colors within the same saturation. These appear a little bit more subdued and a little bit more kind of turned off, you would say. So I don't know if I want to introduce this more vivid pink into the mix, but I'll leave it here and think about it. I absolutely love this one. Why? One thing I know for sure, it's made out of wool. And I love using wool for my drapery because it's a soft fabric, it flows beautifully for draperies. And this particular color is just absolutely gorgeous, and it goes really well with the skin. So there you have it. I will be using this for my drapery. I didn't mean to determine it up front, but I just knew offhand that I think it would be perfect. Once you've chosen the fabrics you want to work with, I like to put them together in a way that is a little bit more visually appealing for me, just so that my eye has a way of going from one pattern to the next and kind of start relating these fabrics together and help you determine if indeed they do go together. So I like to start with folding the fabrics in half and placing them like so, with the folded top facing up. Then I like to place every other fabric right on top. And I can see, yes, these do work together, but for sure it needs something else. So I'm thinking a solid for now. And a solid for this particular one. So I like the way this a little bit more darker pink looks good with the top one. And I'm liking the idea of utilizing this one maybe for upholstery. And then I'm gonna have a little bit of fun and introduce a trim into the mix just because I think it looks good. Pretty much the idea is that you play around with the composition until you find the perfect balance between all the fabrics. If you find that you've used too little or too much, you can always go back and exchange the fabrics and add as much or as little as you need. But continue doing this until you're happy with the end result. Then, once you're done with this, it's time for you to introduce other finishes. In this case, I'm going to utilize this beautiful shimmery taupe-ish wallpaper. Or actually, I'm going to switch this up. If you can see, they're the same wallpaper, they're just different colors. And I find I like the lighter one for this scheme, just so that we can keep it nice, bright, and airy. So you can fold wallpaper samples too. That's what I do, if necessary, that is. Okay, I'm gonna place it right here. So this is gonna be my wallpaper. And I wanna introduce some texture. So I'm thinking, ooh, this is nice. I'm thinking a faux leather with kind of a shagreen texture to it would be really cool. And actually, I think I'm gonna remove this particular fabric just because I don't like the way it's just too bright and there's some gold in it, and I don't think I'm gonna introduce any gold into the scheme just yet anyways. Once the scheme is done, I'm gonna also go ahead and play around with the wood samples that I can add. Which one do you think looks great? Comment down below, let me know. I think I'm gonna go with this medium tone wood finish just because I wanna warm up the scheme. I never forget my shears. Shears are super important to me, and I'm gonna go ahead and place this right next to the fabric I've chosen for my drapery. This particular shear, yes, it's white, but it has a linear pattern with a little bit of bun, a little bit of taupe. It's kind of hard to see, but it's certainly there, and I think it plays nicely with the warm wood tone and then the kind of goldish beads here on the trim. Right now we have the pink, we have the cream, and we also have the gray right here. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this up, and then you'll see at the end how it ends up looking and what the uses will be for each particular fabric. So this is how my color scheme turned out. My main color is definitely dusty pink, and I wanted to create a tone on tone look, so I kind of went hard on the dusty pink, which is okay with me. But if you want to break it up a little bit, which I did attempt to, you should try inserting more than one color, of course. In this case, aside from the dusty pink, I went ahead and introduced a little bit of gray and a little bit of cream. I also warmed up the scheme with a darker wood tone just so that I can have a little bit of dimension. To recap, make sure you find one color you love and then introduce two other colors just so that your scheme is not tone on tone. I do like that look, but I find it gets a little bit boring if you don't add other colors within. Once you have your colors, choose colors within that color scheme, and when it's time for you to compose it, make sure you disperse the colors throughout so that you can have a good idea of how they look together. Once that's done, it's pretty much time for you to determine what each fabric is gonna end up being. Is it soft furnishings? Is it upholstery? And that should really help you introduce any other finish you might like, your wallpaper samples, through to accessories. But that's pretty much it. That's my process. I hope you found it helpful. And if you like these types of videos, please do give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you never miss a video. I'll see you on the next one. Bye. ¿Qué decir? Perdón. And then from there, I'll choose the one that I really, really love. Perdón, ¿podemos comenzar otra vez? That video, I'll link it up here. No, I'll link it down below. I introduce, okay, let me stop it there. Mierda. Como que hablo de más sin necesidad. This is how my color, oh no, okay. Round, es que estaba hablando de más.
No, vas perfecta, vas perfecta, vas perfecta.
Find two other complementary